Live from the Overmind, it's Infected Radio, with your hosts, Packer Pimp and Voodoo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your day with us. Good afternoon, Voodoo. How you doing?
Pretty good. Good afternoon, Packer Pimp. How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to hear. It's
good.
Hot as ass here today.
Yep, it's like 108 here.
Yeah, and you're, for those of you who don't know, Voodoo's in Oregon, Southern Oregon, and I'm in the Bay Area, California, by San Jose, and it was like 100 here today.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. It was cool here for a little bit, but freaking heat wave, Jesus.
I know, it's been up and down. Like yesterday wasn't that bad. Tomorrow's not supposed to be that bad, but whatever. Enough with the.
Good thing we have rivers, unlike you.
I'm sorry. Good luck. What?
I said, good thing we have rivers, unlike you, because we can just go swim whenever we want.
We have an ocean, so suck it.
Get eaten by a shark.
They're not even this close at all. At all. So before we move into, we're gonna talk some Terran today. I know maybe for those of you who've listened to the first couple of shows, maybe you've given off the impression that we're hating on Terran, but it's just. We're just not Terran players, and it's frustrating to play Terran.
It's fun.
To play
Terran.
Yeah, to play good Terran, I should say. And I have no problems with Terran, and we'll get into that in a second. But I just want to mention quickly, I feel bad. Those of you who follow a little bit of baseball, I feel bad for Steven Strasburg. You know, the 22-year-old rookie phenom. Have you heard about him? Maybe on news
I haven't.
A little bit. He's like. Ridiculously talented. He was supposed to be the next Nolan Ryan, and this was his first season. He signed like $15 million contract, and the poor kid has to have Tommy John surgery. So basically, what that is, I mean, for people who don't know, is when you tear a ligament in your elbow, they remove it from your elbow, and then they take a ligament from another part of your body and insert it there. But the downside, you'll never recover to 100% of what you were before.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I feel bad because this poor kid, first year in the league, he has all this talent, but he's already got to have this kind of, in some cases with some people, it's been career-ending injury. I mean, people are going to say, well, he signed for $15 million, you can't be crying that much, but I mean, come on. It's not necessarily his fault that he was talented enough to be an athlete and get paid that kind of money, and I mean, you think about it, if you're a software engineer and you're really good at what you do and Microsoft hired you or Apple just hired you and
then you get in a car wreck because you drunk driving and die.
Yep, and I mean, that's like the same thing, right? You feel bad. $15 million notwithstanding, I feel bad for the kid that he can't fully, be to his potential for probably.
I'm sure he likes playing the sport too. It's not just a money thing, so he can never really play the sport 100% now.
Yeah, absolutely. That sucks. So my heart goes out to any national fans that listen to the show. But anyway, so moving away from, I just wanted to mention that for a second. But moving away from that, and jumping right into StarCraft and Terran talk, we found a really good build on Teamliquid. It's the 312.
Something like that, 312, 321 Terran build that was posted on there by Super Baboshiki. I'm saying that wrong.
That's the one thing about doing stuff.
I think it's Super Babosheki. I think that's what it sounds like.
From people who are on the internet and stuff, some people come up with the weirdest names.
Yeah.
Like the weirdest names, and it's hard to pronounce sometimes. But those of you who follow Husky or watch his videos, he has the 111 build that Terran has been really known for recently, which he's dubbed what the Dreadfist build, the Dream Dreadfist build.
No, Destiny Cloudfist build.
God, Destiny Cloud.
You too, Dreadfist build.
Sorry, dude. It kind of sounded like that. Destiny Cloudfist. So I guess it's, from what I understand, it's kind of a variation of that, right?
Yeah, like from what I understand, the 1-on-1 really didn't give you a first poke at the enemy. Like you kind of was just like a defensive build. But the 312, which is actually, it's a Terran vs. Protoss 312 build, it gives you a first poke of like 1 Marine, 3 Marauders, and 1 Hellion, which is actually pretty good. And it allows you to get that first poke, and then you can transition into a 1v1. Oh my god, Destiny Cloudfist build. You can transition into it, which is awesome.
So I guess we should have we should have prefaced this by saying that this build is really only suited for Protoss when you're going against Protoss.
That's what it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was made for. Zerg is, I mean...
Of course. Right?
Right.
Any build Terran has, it's always against Protoss. Right.
Oh, dude.
The
Sure
Raven?
like I don't get steamrolled by Terran.
They're nerfing siege tanks, okay? You can use Hydralisk again. Be happy.
Wow. Anyways, so yeah, this is pretty much against for Protoss players. So you show up with what, 3 Marauders, a Marine, and the Hellion, right?
Yeah. The Hellions do really good against Zealots, so that takes that away. Marines, of course, rape Stalkers. I mean, Marauders. And then the Marines there to clean it up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you gotta, if you scout this with the Protoss, you gotta have early units out, maybe a sentry to block the ramp, so you have enough units out to just crush that first poke. And then the Terran decides to transition into one-on-one, aka Destiny Cloudfist build, which is really dangerous because that can turn into a really defensive build that Terran uses, and Protoss have a hard time deal with the one-on-one.
So after the initial, are you working on your APM? What are you doing? I hear you clicking.
Yeah, kind of just working on my APM. I'm at like 400 right now, average.
So is your plane ticket to Korea coming soon, or what's going on with that?
Yep. Playing StarCraft Brood War, taking out Bisu and Jaedong and all that.
Wow.
No problem.
So, aside from your trek to South Korea, whatever, after your first initial run-ins with the opposing army, the whole point I think is the next push that you do is you're supposed to have 2 Banshees and a Raven, right?
Yeah, and a bunch of Marines.
So I guess the only Marauders you're supposed to come out with are just those initial 3 Marauders, and then after that you kind of just pump Marines, Hellions, Banshees, and a Raven or 2.
Yeah, and I've actually had this. All my Terran games I've played have either been like Marine Marauder Banshee or like Marine Hellion Banshee. I've seen a lot of Banshees against Protoss now, which is it's kind of ridiculous because Banshees are so mobile, and then with the Raven it adds a point defense drone, which is even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because your Stalkers get negated, and like you can't really get up close because the Marines are tearing down your army. But I saw a game between White Raw and Moro, and Moro tried a Marine Banshee push, and what worked against that is Duckload Raw, also known as White Raw, uses a blinking Stalker build to because you're not gonna have medvacs, so you can just slowly wear down the enemy with blink Stalkers. And then just overwhelm him because he can't heal his units, which is pretty clever. That White Raw guy's a pretty clever dude.
Yeah, except for the name. I mean,
yeah. He's got to support the company he's. I mean,
I guess, but.
Dude, it's all about the green, okay, dude? The
right.
Benjamins.
I understand that, I have a little integrity too. I mean, you're White Raw, or as Day 9 would say, White Raw.
I seen post White Raw.
White Raw.
I've seen posts on Teamliquid and stuff that said he should have named himself White Load, not Duck Load Raw. That'd have been pretty cool. But
that would be pretty cool. So
White. What? I don't know. Yeah.
I wonder if he'll meet Idra.
Actually, I've heard that's actually how you say it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because honestly, Day 9 is the only one that says Idra. Everyone else says Idra.
I've heard Artosis has kind of been effing up the names and making the name scripts popular, Noni. Actually, Nooney, and Artos is always calling him Noni.
Uh-huh.
Artos is calling Idra instead of Idra. Because I think Artos is being held responsible for all this name.
For all the
mess-ups, yeah.
All the mispronunciations. That's great. Good job, Artosis. We salute you. Because honestly, Idra sounds. I mean, if I read it that way, that's how I say it, is Idra.
Yeah, and I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe it is the right way to say it, but I've just heard rumors on Teamliquid and other things that Artosis is messing up the names. But, I mean, who cares? It's Artosis. He's the man.
It's true. It's true. And so is Idra.
I'd mess up names, too, yeah. And so is Idra.
And so is White Raw.
Yeah. So is White Load. I'm going to start calling White Load now.
Oh, White Load?
Yeah.
And more important...
I want White Load.
So is Day 9. And honestly, trust anybody with pronunciation of the people who play in Korea, it would be Day 9.
I think Day 9 should call White Raw White Load.
I
just want to hear it once, in his dailies. Just be here's White Load.
White Load. White Load's pushing.
White Load going for the push. Oh, man. Shayna, I hope you watch this video. Anyway, probably not.
Yeah.
But I can have hopes and dreams.
Yep. Someday maybe, but probably not. So what? I mean, as a Protoss player, this is coming at you, and you're thinking to yourself, "Fuck," or "What do I do?"
First time seeing it, I would say fuck. But now that, because when I saw it, I was like, okay, really? I can't. What am I gonna do? And then I watched White Loads against Game vs Moro, and he used the Blink Stalkers, and I was like, that's perfect because they don't have medvacs to heal their units, so you can slowly wear the enemy down, wait for the Stalker shields to recharge, and then go at them again. And I was like, dude, that's perfect. Start using that in games versus Terran.
So how much of time goes by between the poke and the push? I mean, just we don't have it necessarily in front of us, but how, like in your head when it's been used against you as a Protoss, how much time do you think you have? I mean, basically what I'm trying to get at is, do you have time for Templars?
I don't think so. Maybe if you were able to hold out the push and got an early expansion, because I have read that this guy said if you go one base High Templar, it's not really going to work because he's just going to do a barrel roll, he said, and then just I quoted that right on, by the way. He said barrel roll.
Quote unquote barrel roll.
Yeah, and he would just rape you anyway. So 2 base High Templar, maybe if you were able to get expansion up, but I'm really liking the Blink Stalkers because they're so mobile. Like you can really take them out. And I think you have enough time to get Blink Stalkers out. Basically, after you get 2 Banshees, whatever time that is around, that you can get 2 Banshees after a 1-1-1 transition is when you push. So you should have like 3 Raxes, 2 Stars ports, and 1 factory is what you should be pumping out of. Which is crazy because it's crazy that 1 base Terran can pump out
out of 6 structures. That's kind of
imbalanced, but whatever.
With 2 Banshees, a Raven with Cloak for the
Banshees.
Banshees.
Protoss can only support like 4 warp gates. It's chill.
So can you? Well, it's not like you sound angry about it or anything.
Oh no, I'm just.
Do they have? So even what about if you got Templars without Storm? You weren't able to get Storm yet, but just using the feedback maybe for the Raven, Banshees, or the point defense drone.
Maybe, but I think going for 1 base High Tempo that quick, blindly. Actually, no, you probably wouldn't have to go blindly because you're still going the same tech read if you're going like Blink Stalkers. Mm-hmm. But you'd have to sacrifice a Robo Bay, which sucks.
Yeah, you take out your Observer.
Yeah, Observer, which is lame. So 2 base High Tempo is really, really good, but 1 base I don't really see as being a counter to this. And you probably wouldn't have. I mean, feedback's all right, but he could just pump out another Raven, and he'd be able to support it more effectively than your 1 base High Templar.
Goddamn Terran.
Yep. Well.
Goddamn Terran. So other than Blink Stalkers, I guess is really your only option.
I like to see it as that because they can't heal, and Marines are so weak anyway, and they only have 2 Banshees.
So how many Stalkers are we talking about? Enough to eat through the point defense drone? Because they're going to have that up on your ramp.
No, with Blink you can blink up a ledge and get it or something. It's the only reason you get Blink is because it makes your army so mobile.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Or you can push it, you can keep them back because they don't want to face you with this build in the open because you can just run away and then the point defense drone is wasted. Mm-hmm. They want to face it get you in your base so they can beat you that way. They don't want you to be able to move around because they don't want to waste a point defense drone. So if they're in your base, with a blink you can blink around, get the point defense drone a micro away, and then that kind of negates the whole army, and you can just slowly wear them down with blink.
Don't you end up sacrificing your structures though at your choke?
Maybe a little bit, but you're not gonna have that really. I don't like to build buildings on my choke anyway versus Protoss. Versus Terran.